Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Business English Desk. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jamie, and today we have something really useful for you, really practical too. 4 phrasal verbs, all with the word carry. Carry on, carry out, carry over, and carry around. These 4 come up all the time at work, with friends, in travel, in emails, in meetings, and daily life.
And once you know them, you'll start hearing them everywhere, in offices, in movies, on calls, in restaurants, at airports, and even in your own thoughts. Because some of these are not just work phrases, they are life phrases, very human ones.
Nice use of carry there.
Thank you, had to do it.
And if English learners sometimes feel nervous about phrasal verbs, we get it, because one small word can change everything. Carry on is not the same as carry out, and carry over is definitely not carry around. Similar word, very different meaning.
Exactly. And today, we slow it down, line by line, example by example, so you can really absorb it, not just memorize it and forget it tomorrow.
So get comfortable, maybe grab a notebook, maybe grab coffee, maybe just walk and listen. And let's get into it.
Carry on. So the first meaning and the most common one is simply to continue, to keep going, to not stop despite whatever is happening around you. And this one is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. If you work in an office, if you study, if you travel, if you raise kids, if you just live a normal life, you will hear carry on again and again. Because life never stays perfect, and people need a way to say, keep going. Like, imagine you're presenting in a meeting, and someone walks in late, and the door opens, and everyone looks back. And the moment could easily break, but instead, you just carry on. You don't apologize for existing, you don't restart from slide 1, you don't panic, you just keep going. Or someone might say, please carry on, I didn't mean to interrupt. That means don't stop for me. Don't reset the moment. Just continue. And that line is so useful because it sounds polite, calm, and natural. If you enter late into a room and everyone goes quiet, you can say, sorry, please carry on. Very normal, very smooth, very professional. And in professional settings, this phrase is used constantly. Like, despite the setbacks, the team carried on. That means things went wrong, maybe badly wrong. Maybe the budget changed, maybe a supplier failed, maybe somebody left, maybe the timeline moved. But they did not quit. They continued. They carried on. Or, we lost 2 key people last month, but the project carried on. Again, the work kept moving. The momentum stayed alive. There was no full stop, only a small hit and then forward again. And there is something really powerful about that phrase because carry on often suggests resilience, not just movement. Like life threw something at you and instead of falling apart, you just carried on. You didn't collapse, you didn't freeze, you didn't make a big dramatic speech, you just kept going. And sometimes that is exactly what strength looks like. Not a big performance, just quiet continuation.
And in British culture, carry on is almost legendary. Like, keep calm and carry on. That phrase is literally everywhere. On mugs, on posters, on notebooks, on t-shirts, on tote bags, on kitchen walls, and probably on at least one aunt's fridge. Definitely. And it became this huge cultural thing because it captures the feeling perfectly. Don't panic. Don't overreact. Don't lose your head. Just continue. Stay steady. Keep moving. Carry on. And that tone matters too, because carry on often sounds calm, even comforting. Like if your coworker says, just carry on, It can feel like permission. Permission to stop spiraling. Permission to keep it simple. Permission to do the next thing and not make everything bigger than it is. And in everyday conversation, you hear it in simple lines all the time. She carried on working even after everyone else went home. That means she stayed with it. Maybe she had a deadline. Maybe she was focused. Maybe she was the only one left. But she continued. She carried on. Or he carried on talking even though nobody was listening. We have all met that person. In a meeting, at dinner, on a call, in voice notes. They just do not stop. And somehow they keep going past the natural ending, past the social signal, past the polite pause, and they carry on.
And everyone else is looking at the clock or the screen or the ceiling like, please land this plane, please. But that example is useful because it shows something important. Carry on is neutral by itself. Really powerful about that phrase, because carry on often suggests resilience, not just movement. Like life threw something at you, and instead of falling apart, you just carried on. You didn't collapse. You didn't freeze. You didn't make a big dramatic speech. You just kept going. And sometimes that is exactly what strength looks like. Not a big performance. Just quiet continuation.
And in British culture, carry on is almost legendary, like keep calm and carry on. That phrase literally everywhere, on mugs, on posters, on notebooks, on t-shirts, on tote bags, on kitchen walls, and probably on at least one aunt's refrigerator. Definitely. And it became this huge cultural thing because it captures the feeling perfectly. Don't panic, don't overreact, don't lose your head, just continue, stay steady, keep moving, carry on. And that tone matters too, because carry on often sounds calm, even comforting. Like if your coworker says, just carry on, it can feel like permission. Permission to stop spiraling, permission to keep it simple, permission to do the next thing and not make everything bigger than it is. And in everyday conversation, you hear it in simple lines all the time. She carried on working even after everyone else went home. That means she stayed with it. Maybe she had a deadline. Maybe she was focused. Maybe she was the only one left, but she continued. She carried on. Or he carried on talking even though nobody was listening. We have all met that person. In a meeting, at dinner, on a call, in voice notes, they just do not stop. And somehow they keep going past the natural ending, past the social signal, past the polite pause, and they carry on.
And everyone else is looking at the clock or the screen or the ceiling like, please land this plane, please. But that example is useful because it shows something important. Carry on is neutral by itself. It just means continue. But the situation tells you whether continuing is good or annoying. If a doctor carries on working through a long shift, that sounds dedicated. If a man carries on complaining for 40 minutes, that sounds exhausting. Same phrase, different feeling, because context does the work. And this is why phrasal verbs are fun. Because they are alive. They change color depending on the moment.
And carry on also has a slightly informal meaning. To carry on can mean to behave dramatically, to make a fuss, to overreact, to create a scene. And this meaning is super common in spoken English, especially when somebody is doing a lot over something small. Like, he was really carrying on about the delay. That means he was not just slightly annoyed, he was loud, dramatic, emotional, making everyone around him uncomfortable. Another example, she carried on like it was a disaster. Maybe it was just a small mistake. Maybe the order was late. Maybe a booking got mixed up. But her reaction was huge. So people say she was carrying on. And that tone is mildly critical. It suggests, calm down. This is too much. This does not need all that theater. We have all seen that airport moment, the delayed flight, the lost seat, the tiny line suddenly turning into a one-person show. Somebody is carrying on, and everyone nearby is pretending not to listen.
Every airport has at least one. Every restaurant, too. And maybe one family group chat, if we're honest.
Also true.
And because English learners need to hear what sounds natural, here are some very real lines. Carry on. I'll just listen. That means keep speaking. I'm not interrupting. The class carried on even after the fire drill. Strange day, but normal grammar. He carried on as if nothing happened. Very common, and it means he continued normally. She carried on for another hour. That often means she kept doing something, maybe speaking, maybe working, maybe complaining. You need context to know which one, and here is a useful contrast. If I say, the meeting went on, that means the meeting continued. If I say, she carried on, that can sound a little more personal, a little more active, like she chose to continue, or she personally kept doing it. So carry on often feels more human, more direct.
That is such a good point because sometimes learners know the meaning but not the feel, and the feel matters a lot. Carry on often feels like the person is pushing through or keeping momentum or refusing to stop, even when stopping would be easier. So in work English, this phrase can sound strong in a quiet way, like sales dropped, but we carried on investing. That sounds strategic, calm, determined. Or after the merger, the team carried on delivering. Again, not dramatic, just steady. Steady is powerful, especially in business, because people trust the ones who can carry on when pressure shows up.
And there is another small but useful detail. You will often hear carry on with, like, I'll carry on with the report. Can you carry on with lunch? She carried on with her training. That little with points to the thing continuing. So if your manager says, carry on with the draft, that means continue working on it. Do not stop. Do not wait. Keep moving. Really useful, really common, especially in offices.
And now one more meaning because English loves doing this to us. Carry on as a noun with a hyphen is the bag you take onto the plane as opposed to checking it in. Like, is this bag carry-on size? Or, I only packed a carry-on so I don't have to wait at baggage claim. Very common, especially when traveling, and one of those words that learners hear at the airport again and again. Overhead bin, carry-on item, personal item, checked bag, whole airport vocabulary right there.
And honestly, that little carry-on bag saves so much time at the airport. You just walk off the plane and go. No baggage carousel, no waiting, no staring at identical black suitcases, wondering if one of them is yours. Just carry on. See what I did there?
Very smooth. And because learners like clear memory hooks, here's one. Carry on often suggests continuation. Carry on informally can suggest too much drama. And carry on as a noun is your playing bag. 3 meanings, all very common, all very useful. And before we move on, listen to these quick examples. Sorry I'm late. Please carry on. The event carried on despite the rain. He carried on about the price for ages. I travel light. Just one carry on. 4 lines, 4 real uses.
And one final note, pronunciation matters. Carry on as a phrasal verb sounds like movement, action. Carry on as a noun usually sits next to another noun, like carry on bag, carry on luggage. So when you hear it, listen to the sentence. The sentence tells you which meaning you need.
Perfect. So carry on means to continue despite difficulties, to keep going calmly, sometimes to behave dramatically. And as a noun, the bag you take on a flight. 3 meanings, all very common, all very useful.
Okay, number 2, carry out. Now, carry out means to complete or execute something, to actually do it, not just plan it, not just discuss it, not just promise it, but do it from start to finish. Like the team carried out the plan. That means they did not just sit in a meeting and talk forever. They moved from idea to action. They executed it. They carried it out. And this is such an important business phrase because work is full of plans, full of proposals, full of suggestions. But the real question is always who carried it out? Who turned words into results? And that is this phrase. It belongs to action, to delivery, to completion.
Exactly. If carry on is about continuing, then carry out is about execution. It is about getting the thing done, making the process real, finishing what was required. Like, we need to carry out a full review of the process. That means conduct it, complete it, do the review properly, and do not stop at the idea stage. Or, the doctor carried out a series of tests. That means she performed them, she executed them, she did each one carefully and completely. And notice something. Carry out often appears with formal tasks, reviews, audits, tests, investigations, procedures, instructions, operations, changes, policies. It sounds a little more formal than just do. Not always, but often. So in business English, this one is gold.
And you hear it everywhere at work.
They carried out an investigation into the complaint.
Or, we'll carry out the changes starting Monday. Or, the HR team carried out an employee survey. Or, the factory carries out safety checks every morning. All of these feel natural because carry out fits structured work, work with steps, work with responsibility, work with a clear purpose. And there is something important about this phrase. It is not just starting something. It implies following through, like you carry it all the way through to completion. That is the weight of the phrase. Anyone can start. Plenty of people start. Starting is easy. Carrying it out means you took responsibility and finished it.
And that makes it a very useful phrase for performance reviews, job interviews, business updates, presentations, and emails, because it sounds reliable. If you say, I carried out market research, that sounds stronger than I did some research. Not always better, but stronger, more structured, more professional. It suggests that the research had a process, a method, a clear goal, and a completed result. If you say, we carried out a pilot program, that sounds organized, intentional, finished. So this phrase can improve the tone of your business English.
And in legal or formal contexts, you hear things like, the sentence was carried out. That means it was executed, it was completed, nothing half done. Or, instructions were carried out exactly as given. That means there was no deviation, no shortcut, no improvising. The instructions were followed from beginning to end. And that phrase, exactly as given, often appears with carry out, because this phrasal verb is strongly linked to process, precision, and completion.
And in everyday English, it's useful too. Maybe a manager says, can you carry out these tasks before noon? That means complete them. Get them done. Don't just start and leave them half done. Or a parent says, please carry out the instructions on the box. Follow the steps. Do the thing properly. Or a teacher says, the students carried out a simple experiment. Same idea. They performed it. They completed it. So yes, it is professional, but not only professional. It lives in normal English too.
Let us build the feeling even more. Carry out often answers the question, did it happen? Was it done? Was it completed? For example, a company announces a new policy. Fine, but was it carried out? A manager requests a review. Fine. But was it carried out? A doctor recommends several tests. Fine. But were they carried out? This phrase lives at the point where words become action.
I love that, because that is exactly why it matters. There are so many places in business where people speak as if speaking is enough. But speaking is not carrying out. Promising is not carrying out. Discussing is not carrying out. Carrying out means it got done. So if you want your English to sound clear, action-based, professional, this phrase is very helpful. Here are some quick business examples. We carried out a customer satisfaction survey. The team carried out the migration over the weekend. A third party carried out the audit. The company carried out a full restructure. We cannot carry out the launch until legal approves it. These sound very natural and very real.
And here's one more useful thing. Word order. We can say carry out the review or carry the review out. Both are correct. If the object is a noun, you can place it after the phrasal verb or in the middle. Carry out the plan. Carry the plan out. Both work. But if the object is a pronoun, like it, then it goes in the middle. Carry it out, not carry out it. That sounds wrong. So remember, noun, flexible. Pronoun, middle position.
That is such a useful point because learners often know
the meaning, but get stuck on placement. So let us hear it. We need to carry out the review. We need to carry the review out. We need to carry it out. That last one is the natural form if you replace the review with it.
And now, because English likes to keep us busy, carry out as a noun with a hyphen means food you order and bring home. Like, should we cook tonight or just get carry out? That means takeout food. This is more common in American English, while British English usually says takeaway. Same idea, different label. And honestly, carry out is one of the best inventions in the history of tired evenings.
Nobody argues with that after a long day, after too many meetings, after carrying out 14 urgent things. The last thing you want is to chop onions. You just want someone else to make noodles or tacos or curry and hand them to you.
Exactly. Just carry out and carry on.
Perfect combination. And for memory, this helps. Carry out as a verb usually means perform, execute, complete, especially in structured tasks. Carry out as a noun means food to take home. So again, the sentence tells you which one you need.
Let us do a few more examples. The lab carried out further analysis. We carried out the client's request. The consultant carried out a risk assessment. They carried the plan out in 3 stages. Can you carry it out before Friday? All natural, all useful, especially if you want stronger workplace English.
And one final detail, tone matters here too. Carry out is a little more formal than do. So if your friend says, I need to carry out my laundry, that sounds strange. We would usually say, do the laundry. But carry out the investigation sounds perfect, so choose it when the task feels official, structured, planned, or procedural.
So carry out means to execute or complete something, to see it through from start to finish, and as a noun, carry out means food you take home. Both very common, both very useful, and in business English, especially valuable.
Okay, number 3, carry over. Now, carry over means to move something from one period to another or from one situation to another. It means something does not end where you expected, it continues forward. It transfers, it extends, it moves on into the next space. Like, the remaining budget will be carried over to next quarter. That means whatever was not spent does not disappear. It does not vanish at the end of the quarter. It moves forward. It carries over. Really common in finance, in budgeting, in planning, in accounting, in quarterly reviews. Because business loves one big question: what continues and what ends? and carry over answers that.
And it's not just money. You hear it with leave days, hours, tasks, notes, deadlines, topics, emotions, habits, even momentum. So this phrase is really broad, very practical, and very common. Like, you have 5 days that will carry over into next year. That means you didn't use all your vacation days, and the company allows some of them to move forward. Not every company does. Some say use them or lose them, but others say they can carry over. And that phrase shows up in HR all the time.
And if you work in a place with formal policies, you really want to know this phrase because one line can matter a lot. Unused leave may be carried over for up to 10 days. That sentence can affect your plans, your holiday, your rest, your whole December. So yes, very important vocabulary. And in meetings, we use it all the time. Let's carry this discussion over to tomorrow's session. That means we didn't finish today and we'll continue next time. The topic moves forward. It carries over. Another example, the action items from Tuesday carried over into Thursday. Again, they were not completed, so they moved into the next meeting.
And this one is so real because how many meetings actually finish everything they planned? Not many, very few. Usually something carries over. One topic, one decision, one problem.
One person saying, "Can we revisit this next week?" And suddenly, there it is, carrying over into your future. That is painfully true. And carryover works beautifully for emotional or situational meaning too. Like, the stress from work was carrying over into her personal life. That means the stress did not stay at work. It followed her home. It affected dinner. It affected sleep. It affected the weekend. It crossed the border from one area into another. And that is exactly what carryover means. It extends beyond the original space. Another example, his frustration carried over into the next conversation. Same idea. One moment affected another moment. One emotion traveled forward.
And that is such a human use of this phrase, because in real life, things do carry over. A bad morning can carry over into lunch. A great win can carry over into the next week. One argument can carry over into a meeting and change your tone. So this phrase is useful because it helps you describe how life actually works. Things rarely stay in one neat box.
Exactly. And in sports, you hear the momentum carried over into the second half. That means the energy, confidence, focus, and success from the first half continued after halftime. It did not reset. It traveled forward. It carried over. And outside sports, this applies too. The positive feedback carried over into stronger sales. The tension from the first meeting carried over into the negotiation. The lessons from the pilot phase carried over into the full launch. Same core idea. One period affects another.
And now a grammar note because this one also changes form. Carry over as 2 words is the verb. Carry over the balance. The tension carried over. But carry over as 1 word is the noun. Like, there was a carryover from last year's budget, or
The carryover from the previous meeting was significant.
1 word, noun. 2 words, verb. And this distinction really matters, especially in business writing, where people actually use both.
So let us hear it clearly. We need to carry over the remaining funds. That is the verb, 2 words. But there is a carryover from last quarter. That is the noun, 1 word. And once you hear it a few times, it becomes easy. At first, maybe not, but then your ear adjusts and it clicks.
Here are some quick workplace examples. Any unfinished tasks will carry over to next week. The budget carryover was smaller than expected. Can we carry over this topic to the next agenda? The confusion from onboarding carried over into the first month. Positive energy carried over after the launch event. All natural, all realistic.
And one more subtle point. Carry over often suggests something remains unfinished, but not always. Sometimes it means something useful continues, like the goodwill carried over into the partnership. That's positive. Or her confidence carried over into the interview. Also positive. So do not think this phrase is only about leftovers. It can also be positive momentum, a good habit, useful knowledge, healthy confidence.
That's big because learners often connect carryover only with budgets or vacation days. But really, it's bigger. It's about extension, something moving beyond its original point. Sometimes practical, sometimes emotional, sometimes financial, sometimes social. Always useful.
And because this is Business English Desk, here are some business-heavy examples. Any unused funds can be carried over subject to approval. We carried over 2 agenda items from the last board meeting. The delays from Phase 1 carried over into Phase 2. Customer trust carried over after the rebrand. There was a carryover of responsibilities during the transition. Strong, clear, professional.
So carryover means to move something forward in time or for something to extend into another situation. And carryover as one word is the noun form. Really practical, really common, especially at work, but also in real life.
Okay, last one.
Number 4, carry around. So carry around means to have something with you all the time. Like you take it wherever you go, it is just always there, always with you, always in the bag, always in your pocket, always in your mind, depending on the meaning, because this phrase works physically and emotionally, and that is what makes it so powerful.
Let's start with the physical meaning, like she carries a notebook around everywhere. That means it's always with her, in her bag, in her hand, maybe next to her coffee. She doesn't go anywhere without it. Or, I've been carrying this charger around all day. That means the charger has been with you the whole day. Maybe you needed it, maybe you didn't, but you kept it just in case. And that phrase, just in case, is often emotionally attached to carry around, because people carry around things they might need even if they rarely use them.
Every single time. The one day you stop carrying something around is the one day you desperately need it. No charger, dead phone. No umbrella, sudden rain. No pen, unexpected form. Life really loves that joke.
It really does. And in daily life, you hear super normal sentences. Why do you carry so much stuff around? He carries his passport around when he travels. She carries snacks around for the kids. I don't like carrying cash around. All natural, all common. And there's often a tiny suggestion of burden, not always, but often. Because if something is always with you, it can feel a little heavy.
A little annoying. A little unnecessary.
Exactly. And that is why this phrase becomes so powerful when we use it emotionally. Like, he's been carrying around a lot of guilt about that decision. That means the guilt stays with him, not physically, emotionally. Mentally, invisibly.
He takes it into every meeting, every quiet moment, every conversation, every drive home. He cannot put it down. He carries it around.
And that image is so human because we all know what that feels like.
And another example, she carried around the grief for years. Again, it never left her. She carried it through ordinary days, through birthdays, through work, through weekends, through all the little moments. And that phrase makes the emotion feel physical, like weight, like something in your bag, on your back, in your arms.
And that is why carry around is such a strong emotional phrase. It turns feeling into weight.
And that helps so much in English, because learners often know words like guilt, fear, stress, resentment, shame, sadness, but they want a natural way to talk about how those feelings stay. And this phrase does that beautifully. He carries around a lot of anger. She has been carrying around that disappointment for months. I don't want to carry that fear around forever. These sound natural.
emotional, real.
And in a lighter context, we also use it for stuff, too much stuff. Like the person with the suspiciously heavy bag. You know the one. You ask, what is in there? And somehow the answer is everything. 3 pairs of headphones, 2 umbrellas, a half-read book, 6 charging cables, receipts from nowhere, a pen that doesn't work, gum from last year, and a granola bar from 2022. Just carrying it all around, everywhere, just in case.
And professionally, you hear things like, he always carries his laptop around with him. That means the laptop is always there. On trains, in cafes, in meetings, on weekend trips, maybe even to places where no laptop should ever go. Truly. Some people cannot separate from their devices. They carry them around, like an extra limb. And that is where the phrase can also suggest something unnecessary, like a burden or excess weight. Why are you carrying all that stress around with you? That means, why are you holding on to it? Why are you keeping it? Why are you letting it travel with you into everything? Put it down. Let it go. Stop carrying it around. And honestly, that is not just English advice. That is life advice.
We are not just teaching vocabulary today.
Full life coaching, free of charge.
But it is true. Not everything you pick up deserves a permanent place in your mind. Some things you need to process and release, not carry around for years.
And that emotional shade is why this phrase is so common in supportive conversations. Between friends, a friend might say, "You've been carrying this around for too long." A therapist might say, "You don't have to carry that shame around." A manager might say, "Don't carry this setback around all week." Same idea. Emotional weight being held too long.
Let's hear some very natural examples. I carry a bottle around everywhere. She carries emergency cash around in her bag. He's been carrying that resentment around for years. Why do you carry so many keys around? I don't want to carry this worry around all weekend. All natural. And notice again how often there's weight in the meaning.
And one more small point. Carry around often sounds more repeated, more habitual than just carry. If I say, "I carried my bag," that could be one time, one trip, one short action. But if I say, "I carry that bag around," it suggests a repeated pattern, a habit, a normal thing, always happening. So the around gives the sentence that feeling.
That's so useful because it helps learners choose the right phrase. If you want one specific action, maybe just carry. If you want ongoing presence, something always with you, then carry around is perfect.
So carry around means to have something with you constantly, physically or emotionally. And the emotional meaning is especially powerful because it helps you talk naturally about invisible weight.
4 phrasal verbs now, all very different, all very real. And now let's put them into one conversation.
Okay, role play time.
Let's go.
The scenario is 2 colleagues having a conversation after a difficult week at work.
Perfect.
Ready?
Ready. Hey, Laura, do you have a few minutes?
Of course. Come in. Sit down. What's going on?
Honestly, it's been a really tough week, and I just needed to talk to someone.
I've noticed you've seemed a little off. Since Monday, actually. What happened?
So, you know the client audit we were supposed to carry out last week, the Henderson one?
Yes. How did that go?
We carried it out, but honestly, it didn't go as planned. There were issues with the data from Q3. It hadn't been properly updated, so we had to carry over some of the findings into a follow-up session, which the client was not happy about at all.
Okay, that's frustrating, but carrying over findings happens sometimes. It doesn't mean the whole thing fell apart. It means you were being thorough.
I know, rationally, I know that, but I just carry the reaction with me all week. Like I can't stop thinking about it. It follows me into every meeting, into the evenings, into the weekend. I just can't put it down.
I completely understand that feeling. Like when something goes wrong with a client, it just sits with you and you replay it over and over. But you can't let one difficult audit carry over into how you see your whole performance, because that's not fair to yourself. You carried out the work, you showed up, you did what needed to be done, and the data issue was not your fault.
I know rationally, I know that, but I just carry around that negative feeling from the client with me everywhere I go.
This need
For everything to go perfectly, like it's always been there. That feeling that if something goes wrong, it's on me.
A lot of really good people carry that around. The ones who care the most are usually the ones who carry the most weight. But at some point, you have to let yourself just carry on, you know? Not everything has to be perfect. Some things go wrong, and you acknowledge it, you learn from it, and then you carry on.
That actually helps a lot. Thank you. You're right. I need to stop letting one difficult week carry over into the next one.
Exactly. Draw the line, end of this week, and start fresh Monday.
Deal. Okay, enough about me. How are you doing?
Honestly, just carrying on. You know how it is. Some weeks are just one foot in front of the other.
The only way through.
Always. Oh, before I forget, can you carry over your notes from Tuesday's meeting to the Thursday session? I don't think we finished the discussion on the new targets, and I want to make sure nothing gets lost.
Actually already done. I carried them over yesterday. I figured we'd need them.
See, that's exactly what I mean. You think ahead. You carry out what needs to be done without being asked. That's not the work of someone who messes things up.
When you put it that way. Okay, I hear you.
Good. Now, are you going to keep carrying all that around, or are you going to put it down?
Putting it down. Starting now.
Good. Okay, I'm going to carry on with these reports, but my door is open if you need anything.
Thank you, Laura. Really?
Anytime. And go get carryout tonight. Don't cook. You've earned it.
Now that is the best advice you've given me all day.
I have my priorities straight.
And there you go. Did you catch all four? Carry out the audit, execute it, complete it, carry over the findings, move them to the next session, carrying it around, holding on to stress emotionally, carry over into performance, letting one thing affect another, carry on, continuing despite difficulties, carry over the notes, move them to the next meeting, carry out what needs to be done, completing tasks, carrying all that around, holding on to emotional weight, carry on with the reports, continuing to work, get carry out, order takeout food.
All 4 phrasal verbs woven naturally into one real conversation.
That's what knowing these phrases does for you.
They just flow.
Naturally.
Without even thinking. Okay, quiz time.
ABC format.
Think carefully, and we'll give you the answer.
Question 1. Despite the challenges, the construction team blank and finished the building on time. Is it A, carried out, B, carried on, or C, carried over?
The answer is B, carried on. They continued despite the challenges. Didn't stop, didn't give up. Just carried on.
Question 2. The unused vacation days will be blank to the following year. Is it A, carried around, B, carried out, or C, carried over?
The answer is C, carried over. They move forward into the next year. Not lost, just carried over.
Question 3. She always blank a small notebook wherever she goes. Is it A, carries around, B, carries on, or C, carries out?
The answer is A, carries around. It's always with her, everywhere she goes. That notebook never leaves her side.
Question 4. The hospital blank over 500 procedures every month. Is it A, carries over, B, carries out, or C, carries around?
The answer is B, carries out, performs them, executes them every single month. 500 procedures carried out.
Question 5. He's been blank, a lot of resentment since the argument. Is it A, carrying out, B, carrying over, or C, carrying around?
The answer is C, carrying around, holding onto it emotionally. Can't put it down, just carrying it around.
Question 6. The negative energy from the morning meeting blank into the afternoon session. Is it A, carried around, B, carried out, or C, carried over?
The answer is C, carried over. It didn't stay in the morning. It extended into the afternoon, affected everything after.
Question 7. Even after the interruption, the presenter just smiled and blank on. Is it A, carried on, B, carried out, or C, carried over?
The answer is A, carried on, continued, didn't let it throw her off. That's real composure. That's a professional.
Question 8. Last one. The instructions said the task must be blank exactly as written. Is it A, carried over, B, carried around, or C, carried out?
The answer is C, carried out, executed, completed, exactly as written. No shortcuts, no changes. Carried out. Perfectly.
Okay, everyone, how did you do?
8 questions. Drop your score in the comments.
We read every single one.
And if you got one wrong, go back and listen again. It will click. It always does. All right, let's bring it home.
Today's 4 phrasal verbs.
All with carry.
Carry on.
To continue despite difficulties. To behave dramatically.
Or the bag you take on a plane. Carry out. To execute or complete something. Or food you take home.
Carry over. To move something forward in time.
Or for something to extend into another situation.
And carry around. To have something with you constantly, physically or emotionally.
4 phrasal verbs, so many real situations. Your challenge this week? Use at least one in a real conversation today.
Drop a sentence in the comments. We love reading them.
If today helped you, hit that like button and subscribe for more.
This has been Business English Desk. I'm Laura.
I'm Jamie.
And we'll see you next time. Carry on learning.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.